Oh, hello and welcome to Good Game Spawn Point. I'm Will, and coming up on the show, we help a girl lost between reality and imagination in the puzzle-filled adventure Everforward. Plus, we kickflip, grind, ollie, and fall over a lot in Skater XL. Did you know that skateboarding used to be known as sidewalk surfing? I know, right? And that the first ever skateboard was just a crate with roller skate wheels underneath it? It's crazy. I mean, why didn't they just call it roller crating or crate boarding or box balancing? Yeah, you're right, skateboarding it is. Roll the titles.
Are you ready to land some sick tricks? Well, prepare to be disappointed, because Skater XL is a total fakie of a video game. XL is the new kid on the block in skateboarding games, a once popular genre long dominated by the Tony Hawk series. But instead of an arcadey experience, Skater XL opts for a more realistic simulator vibe. But no matter how realistic a video game gets, you still can't get hurt from a wipeout. So if you do decide to go skateboarding in real life, make sure you wear protective gear and definitely a helmet. In Skater XL, you control your left and right feet individually with the thumbsticks, moving and flicking them to control the board. You use the triggers to lean left and right, and the bumpers to grab the board. This control system took a while to get used to, because I instinctively want to use the thumbsticks to look around. But once you do get the hang of it, it's quite clever and gives you a wide scope for manipulating the board. You can then pick a map to drop into and then just skate, I guess? These maps feel hauntingly empty. There's no people, no movement, just you in the middle of central LA with a bunch of parked cars. It just feels lifeless and somewhat sprawling. And the game isn't populated with collectibles or cool points of interest either. You could argue that going out and skating in real life is the same deal. You go out, make your own runs, and find your own fun. But skating in real life has the benefit of being in real life, with life around you, not some weird, empty world that looks kind of fuzzy? Seriously, this is just fuzzy enough that I kept wondering if maybe the cable from my console to the TV was broken or something. But no, it's just the game. There's plenty of clipping, a general lack of polish, and ankles doing things they have no right to do. There's just one unavoidable fact about Skater XL. It's not fun to play. There's nothing much to do. I have heard people say that the game's quite fun with mods on PC, but I played this on console. I don't have mods. And I have a philosophical issue with a game requiring user-made mods just to be good. There are some custom maps available on PS4, and by some, I mean 3. I like that it gives you the option for something a bit smaller, but I'm just doing the same thing I did in the official maps, which is skate around until I attempt a trick or hit something, then fall off my board like a stiff rat. What's worse is the spawn points. Not the show, the spawn points in the game. You can set where you spawn to give yourself access to the whole map. This is a positive on the side of it being a simulated experience, because many skaters will set up on a particular rail or staircase to try and perfect a trick. But in a video game, this isn't fun. Once you wipe out, you're brought back to your set spawn point, instead of resuming where you fell. Because you'll be falling a lot, you'll basically see the same 10 meters of concrete over and over until you reset the spawn. It made the game feel so boring. I've already seen and fallen over in this area. Let me go fall over somewhere else. And that's a major problem with the game. There's just no sense of flow. Aside from a short tutorial, there's no real way to learn how to do tricks, which is the whole point of the game, other than the challenges. This is a dry, stilted list of various moves that are demonstrated to you before you can try them yourself. Not only does this feel more like studying than playing, but this particular section of the game was laden with glitches and lag. Button inputs wouldn't work, and the game would constantly freeze up. It made trying to learn these already complex moves all the more painful. There's also zero sense of reward for landing a sick trick. Oh, cool, now I can go do that in one of the maps. Yay! In fact, this is probably the coolest trick that I managed to land that wasn't in one of the challenges. Yay. Okay, that was fine. And worse still, you don't even really have to do the challenges accurately. The game is inconsistent in registering your movements, and thought I passed when I definitely did not. And it failed me because I slammed into a bus after doing a move correctly. It's not my fault you parked there. What's even the point? Now, you could be thinking, Rad, you're just not skilled at the game, and that's okay, but it's not the game's fault. And I thought that too. And then I watched other people play. Even highly skilled players, people that had put 1,000 hours into the game, were doing things that looked really boring. And I normally like watching skate videos, but this isn't as good as skate videos in real life. I simply cannot recommend this game. To be fair, it does boot, you can push a skateboard around, maybe do a flip. The music and character customization is fun, but overall the game feels half-baked. I'm giving Skater XL 1 out of 5 rubber chickens. Skater XL? See you later, XL.
Greetings and welcome to another entertaining and informative edition of The Scoop. We've got a whole bundle of gaming news highlights from the last week or so let's get this Scoop show a-scoopin'. First up, some next-gen Xbox news. A cheeky leak might have just confirmed the Xbox Series S ahead of any official announcement, with next-gen controller packaging details referring to a Series S as well as a Series X. And while Xbox has yet to confirm official info of the rumoured less expensive, less powerful Series S console, they did announce that the Series X, at least, will launch in November this year. Moving along now to our next piece of gaming news, and Agnes Larson, lead gameplay developer from Mojang Studios, has said there will indeed be a Minecon Live-style broadcast of some kind this year, with more info about it set to arrive next month. Could we see the long-awaited Minecraft Darren update? Probably not, but a bot can dream. And in other news, celebration of the recent National Science Week, the ARC Centre of Excellence in Exeter Science has launched some free arcade-style science games. With the help of Aussie devs Mighty Serious, the games look at themes of renewable energy and light technology. Players can also learn more about the science from students studying in those fields. From the quantum dot matching of Power Match, solar cell assembly in Solar Slider, to, my personal favourite, exciting lasers! It's true, they are exciting! Pew, 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 pew! I love it. And last up for this week, important news from the world of Stardew Valley. Stardew developer Concerned Ape has confirmed that in the upcoming 1.5 update that he's working on, players will be able to move their beds. I repeat, players will be able to move their beds. We'll bring you more on this story as further details are uncovered. Now it's time for the Extra Scoop! Miniatures artist Tatsuya Tanaka creates teeny tiny diorama worlds using everyday items, and recently did a whole series inspired by Nintendo. From a Switch swimming pool, to Animal Crossing waffles, to a Link's Awakening campfire scene. Oh, that's no small feat. And that concludes the weekly gaming news roundup that was The Scoop. Until we scoop again, goodbye.
After 7 months of filming the show out of my personal gaming den, I kind of feel like it needs a facelift, a bit of a new vibe. How about oh, I mean, it's certainly a different vibe, just not a nice one. Ugh. Everforward comes to us from PORTIA, the same team behind my time at PORTIA. And while that game was full of colourful critters and farming, this one is a wholly new experience, and an intriguing one at that. As a pandemic sweeps across the world, everyone is forced to remain inside. You play as Maya, a young girl whose scientist mother is working on a defense against the pandemic, but she wants to take matters into her own hands. Surprise, surprise, it all goes out of control as she slips into a strange dreamscape world, unsure of how she arrived. Little fragments of the story are revealed to you as you complete the game's main objective, puzzles. Why is this poor lost girl completing puzzles? Don't ask silly questions. Traveling across a picturesque land, you'll encounter glitching and broken fragments of the world. These are your lost memories. Approach them and you'll glitch your way into a barren, technology-driven realm. Here be puzzles, or more specifically, one type of puzzle. All you'll need to do to progress is pick up a simple box, move said simple box to a simple beam of light, and that's it. So that's why I'm giving Ever Forward. Just kidding. Whilst the concept for the puzzles remains the same, the game constantly throws new ideas into the mix. In her efforts to help her mother, Maya created the Roundy Bots, though in the puzzle realm, they don't help. They do the opposite of helping. These dastardly droids will take you down if they see you, so you'll need to avoid their line of sight. They also detect sound, so if you jump or throw your box, they'll be on high alert, though that's not always a bad thing. Ever Forward does a great job of taking what you expect and twisting it on its head. There's also pressure plates, moving platforms, and a slew of other bizarre mechanics revealed as the game rolls on. At the completion of each puzzle, you'll get a fragment of Maya's story, and watch as the darkness fades away, breathing life back to the ravaged world. And whilst the game is pretty, there's some top-tier visual design on display here, I didn't get to see all that much of it with my head firmly buried in my hands. This game can get tricky, and when I say can, I mean does, and fast. Each new puzzle mechanic is introduced without warning or tutorial, which is fine. It's honestly pretty rewarding to decipher what needs to be done on your own. But when you're teleported into a world and this keeps happening, it can get a little frustrating. You'll need patience and a big helping of trial and error, watching and waiting for the perfect time to drop a cube. Also know that even when you're certain you've nailed it, the game often doesn't feel like playing along. There's a fair few bugs like clipping outside of the world or puzzles not loading correctly, but the biggest issue is actually the game's design. The detection beam of those pesky roundy bots is impossible to see. You'll need to angle your camera just right to reveal where it's safe to stand. Some solutions feel like you've borderline broken the game, and want to climb a ledge? Make sure you're right up against it and are given the prompt. Jump too early and you'll alert the bots and fail the puzzle. It's 2020. There are easier ways to climb up ledges, people. But despite everything, I still enjoyed myself. Getting to the bottom of Maya's desperate story always spurred me on, and the ever-changing puzzles certainly kept me on my toes. It's also a fairly short experience, so even in your most frustrating hour, just know you're almost there. Ever Forward, perhaps unsurprisingly, is a story of perseverance, and that goes for the gameplay too. I'm giving it 3 out of 5 rubber chickens.
All right, like jumping into a giant tub of bubblegum, it's time to get stuck into some Ask SP questions. Though I don't recommend ever actually jumping into a giant tub of bubblegum, even if you somehow manage to find one. Let me know if you do though. Anyway, let's start with our first video, and this one comes to us from Serafina.
Hi, it's Serafina here, and I have a few questions. My first question is, what is the best game on a PS4? And my second question is, on a PS4, can you get Roblox? Bye!
Oh, thanks, Serafina. To answer your question about the best PS4 game, well, as we always say, it's pretty hard to name just one best game. How could you choose between all those PS4 classics like Ratchet and Clank, Little Big Planet 3, Tearaway Unfolded? Oh, and Dreams, especially if you fancy making your own games or trying out some community creations. And of course, there are heaps of great games for PS4 that are available across multiple platforms too, like Minecraft, the Lego games, Rocket League, Untitled Goose Game, Tetris Effect, Rayman Legends, The Outer Wilds, Journey, and one of my personal favourites, My Time at Portia. Oh, and a new fave from this year, Deliver Us the Moon, if you're okay with a bit of scary space stuff. As for Roblox on the PS4, well, I'm sorry to say it doesn't look like Roblox is officially playable on the PlayStation 4. And while you may be able to reach the Roblox site using the PS4's web browser and even sign in and everything, you're not able to properly download and install Roblox or play any games using that method. So for now, it seems Roblox players will have to stick to playing on Xbox One, PC or mobile devices. Right, well, moving on now, and next up we have a video from Maxwell.
Hi, my name's Maxwell and I have 2 questions. 1, what was the first ever video game made? 2, will you ever make a game based on Good Games Spawn Play?
Thanks, Maxwell. I'm pretty sure we learnt about the first video game ever made during that whole Apocalypse fiasco, but at the risk of a noob cupping, I'm gonna get Darren to answer this one. Won't be a minute.
Hello, this is Darren.
Hey Darren, just a question here about the first video game ever made.
Ah, tremendous! One of my favourite topics. Of course, one could argue there are a few examples of the first video game, depending on how you look at it. In fact, there was an interactive electronic device known as the cathode ray tube amusement device, dating all the way back to the 1940s. And there were other examples, like the bouncing ball program, which showed off real-time text and graphics in action, though this was more of a technical demonstration than a game. Then, in the 1950s, we saw computer programs based on games like tic-tac-toe, chess, and tennis. Following these, there was 1962's Space War, aka Computer Space, a sci-fi game made for MIT's PDP-1 minicomputer. It included the use of physics and was eventually made available on a range of devices, including arcade machines. But overall, it is quite difficult to give one single, simple answer to that one. That just makes it all the more interesting, though, don't you think?
Oh yeah, no, fascinating. Well, thanks for the history lesson, Darren.
Oh, you're most welcome.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye. As for whether we'll ever make a GGSP game, well, that's a bit of a tricky one. We're not exactly game developers ourselves. But a while ago, Goose teamed up with an awesome young coder called Julian on a series about how to make games using Scratch. They created a GGSP Invaders game in the process. You can still search that series out online and even download the graphics and sounds for yourself. But they may be a bit out of date now. I'm not sure if we'll do something like that again, though it sure would be pretty cool. I'd love to see little rad Gem and Will sprites and an updated Darren, of course. Might have to think about that one. Anyway, I think we have time for one more quick question, and let's make it a video from Noah.
Hi GGSP, I have one question for you. Is there any sign of Animal Crossing coming to Xbox One this year? Toodles!
Wow, Noah, that's some really impressive stop-motion animation you got going there. Very nice. But in answer to your question, I'm sorry to say it's unlikely we'll be seeing Animal Crossing on Xbox One this year. Or really, ever. It's just one of those games that's really closely associated with Nintendo platforms. Aside from the occasional exception where you might see, say, a mobile game spin-off like Pocket Camp, Nintendo makes games for their own consoles. And Animal Crossing New Horizons has also been a huge success for Nintendo, so I imagine they'd want to hold on to that Switch exclusivity. But all is not lost. If you like the look of Animal Crossing, you might want to check out Ooblets for the Xbox One. It's still in early access at the moment, but like Animal Crossing, there's lots of colourful, charming fun to be had in a quaint little village filled with quirky characters. My Time at Portia, which I mentioned earlier, also has a similar sort of vibe. And on that note, we better wrap up Ask SP for another week. If you have a question for us, go here and send it in. And make it a video question for your chance to see yourself on the screen and also score some sweet GGSP goodies like a hat or beanie and stickers and a pin. And let me tell you, the GGSP beanies coming in mighty handy this time of year. I'm so snug. I'm snug as a bug in a rug. I just need a mug of hot chocolate. Oh, that's a really good idea. Thanks, me. You're welcome, me. Would you look at that? It's the end of another episode. But pack your bags and get to the airport at least 2 hours ahead of time for next week's episode. Because we're learning to fly in the visually stunning new Microsoft Flight Simulator.
we run our very own zoo full of radical dinosaurs in Parkosaurus. Oh, I can't wait for that one. The dinosaurs wear hats. The hats on dinosaurs, people. It's gonna be so good. Until next time, may all your games be hat ones. Rat out.
Gem out.
Will out.